if you want to know if your gun sucks or not, all you really have to do is give it to an American, and we will tell you whether it sucks or what needs to change about your gun. This is a part of an article that I read a couple of days ago, and it was talking about European countries and how police officers over there, you know, they'll just kind of deal with what they have. But here in America, we're very vocal about our guns and what we like and what we don't like. And that definitely pertains to the CZ Scorpion. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you like this new format, by the way, let me know. We're not so much of the table, but you'll get a little bit more of, you know, me talking about the gun and some B-roll showing y'all the actual gun here. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about this kind of new format. We're doing some more videos on the range, doing some more videos like this. So if you like what I do, consider subscribing, man. Really appreciate y'all. Now, we were able to buy this because of our patrons, which I'm super appreciative of. And because of that, and every gun review we do here, not just the ones I buy, I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like. And so that's just my opinion, of course, and I'd love to hear yours after the video. Let me know where you stand on the new 3+ Carbine. And so I will talk about some of those changes that they've made and whether that makes a big difference. Now, the CZ Scorpion that we know in the United States, or that we've had in the United States, came out in 2014. Pretty successfully, I would say, but there's a lot of things through the 1st gen, 2nd gen, and now the 3rd gen that have changed over time. By the way, the VZ61 Scorpion, totally different story. I'd love to get one of those at some point, but you know, it is what it is. So your micro version is like 4 pounds. This one is, you know, 6.85 pounds. A little bit heavy for a PCC, but we're going to see how that plays out when we talk about the shooting here. So what we have is a 16.3-inch barrel. We have this removable faux suppressor, 1/2 by 28 threads. We have a polymer handguard with our M-LOK design. So as opposed to the Picatinny rail that they were using, you know, for a long time, now we are able to attach whatever we want, but we have a much sleeker forend here, and it feels a heck of a lot better. And that's a change that's, you know, happened over the past, I don't know, 6, 7 years or 10 years even, maybe even longer, where Picatinny rails, actually I know it's longer, Picatinny rails were so popular for so long. I mean, you had the quad rails on ARs and everything. That has, you know, since went away, and we have a much better design in M-LOK, right? Because we can attach what we want, but we can also leave it very clean as well. Kind of have this shark nose design towards the front. So I really like it, and that's one of the parts about the CZ Scorpion that just make it an awesome and recognizable gun is the cool factor. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if it's a reliable cool gun. I'm okay with that. We have our pick rail up top. We do have redesigned sights, and these are designed to co-witness, at least be a third co-witness with a lot of red dots, but of course not the one that I went with. This is an Amos Core Holosun. Pretty simple design, but I like it overall. It just sits up a little bit too tall to utilize our backup sights here. And they kind of work on a flywheel. So we have several different apertures that we can use. We have an AR style post up front. So not a bad set of backups by any means, and they're aluminum housing, so pretty solid actually, I think, and a step above what they had before, which looked like they sat a little bit lower on the actual top of the gun. We have a non-reciprocating charging handle on the left-hand side. What's cool is that we can easily swap this from side to side there. So not only can we manipulate the bolt like an MP5, if you will, you can just kind of slap it down like that if you want to, but we also have a bolt release down here. So if we put this in this position here, we release the magazine, ambidextrous bolt release forward of the trigger guard, which I found myself using most of the time. Even though I'm a huge fan of the MP5 and how that system works, I found myself using that more times than not. I like it. And so it's a pretty intuitive design. Now, what they did here is pretty awesome. because not only can I work my magazine release now, it's got a standard AR style magazine release button on this side, and then we have kind of a paddle on this side. Looks a little bit different, same idea. But with my index finger right here, I can work my magazine release, I can drop my bolt, and I can flip my safety on and off and never really have to break grips. Sometimes when I'm pushing that to the off position, but very rarely do I have to do that. Now, sometimes if it's like this, I will kind of reach around to this side and kind of flip it back on to the fire position with my thumb. But all in all, you can work every part of this gun pretty much and never have to break grip. So I can be just like this right here. If I need to swap a magazine, boom, I put a new mag in. Hell, I got a mag right here. Boom, I can drop that bolt, boom, flip my safety back on or off, and boom, be ready to fire. It is a really good system. And this safety lever is something they redesigned too, because people were having issues of it, you know, just digging into their hand or into their, you know, index finger, which this one digs a little bit too, but it's not bad at all. The only real experience I have with any of the Scorpions prior to this one is holding them in gun shops and stuff. And so I just never really liked the way they looked or operated before this. So it was more of just a, you know, hey, do I want to go with the CZ Scorpion that I don't really like, or go with an MPX Copperhead, or better yet, one of my favorite PCCs, the Chris Vector. It's intuitive, it's got a lot of really cool designs, but at its core, it's reliable and it shoots really well. So there was always what I felt a better option until they've made some of these changes that we're talking about. And one of those big changes is the new grip design. This gives you a much more natural grip, right? And so it's also adjustable, so we can pull this back just to adjust our reach to the trigger. That old swept back design I was not a fan of. It was not ergonomic at all. And you know, things like that can be changed, but at the end of the day, this is much better what they have here. Now, one thing I appreciate is the folding stock. Not only is this thing just like super durable, there's no like rattle or anything like that, which is awesome, man. It feels like a quality gun, which I appreciate. It is adjustable as well, and it's side folding, and this locking mechanism feels like aluminum. Actually, I think it is aluminum. It's not plastic like the Scar. And so I feel like you can, you know, you can fold it like that, you could shoot it like this because our ejection port is open, right? So, or we can store it like this if it's a truck gun or whatever, and just a slight push down, boom, and you can't hear anything because it is a solid lockup. I appreciate that a lot. And then we get to the part of how it actually shoots. Well, that thing is accurate. On point there, Mikey.
It's quiet too.
Yeah. Yeah, you would almost think that faux suppressor is actually doing something when it's not. I really like the controls on this one too. Having the ability to have your charging handle up here, so we can drop it like that, or have it right here. You could drop it like that too, which is pretty freaking cool. I think this one also has what we call the cool factor. It just looks really freaking awesome. It's amazing how accurate you can be with one of these. You know, even at 20 or 25 yards, this thing is on point. I'd say max 50 yards is what I would kind of build this one out for. And it's not even far from that. There's not a lot you have to change, but if you want to change things on your Scorpion, you can absolutely do that. There are a ton of parts for these things, super popular. By the way, these mags are backwards compatible with the S1 Evo. So there's that. Magazines are like 30 bucks each, you know. You can get all kinds of things for these. So all in all, the accuracy was really good. Now I do plan on doing a review comparing this to the FPC from Smith & Wesson, another popular PCC there. And so when I shot these back to back, I'll kind of give a little bit of that away. You notice more of that mass of the bolt, right? It's a direct blowback design, but it's not unmanageable. So where the PCC, you kind of get just a little bit of a vertical rise. This one, it was more of a vertical and to the right, and just kind of pull it back down. And you feel a little bit more of that mass, but it's really not bad at all.
That smile says it all.
That thing is accurate.
I'm telling you, bro. Oh, you f. All right, go ahead. I wasn't on it. You looked at me like I never called you a f before.
Another thing that they did here, which I think is, which I definitely appreciate, honestly, you got one pin here that you push out, and it's captive, right? And so if we pull our bolt back, we can pull our whole trigger pack out just like that. I mean, it's just that easy, right? And what we can also do is we can hold on to this, and just by pushing down and pulling out at an angle, there we go. Our whole gun is now taken apart, just that simple. We got our captive recoil spring, guide rod right there. One thing that's really interesting on this one, I have not seen this before, but it actually has a firing pin safety similar to a pistol design, which is pretty freaking cool, and that obviously correlates. There's a little piece in the trigger back here that actually deactivates that, allowing, you know, that to be pushed up so the firing pin can then go forward and strike the primer. So yeah, I don't know, pretty interesting. But this is a hunking chunk of metal right here. This is a lot of the weight of the gun is right here. Got a big old beefy extractor in there. It is solidly built. And so putting it back in here, this piece just rides on the back of the receiver, and we just kind of push that down. There we go. Watch your fingers there. Push it forward. The charging handle, push that forward, makes it a little bit easier. Then we lock this back to put our trigger pack in. Boom. Push that pin. How easy is that? I appreciate the hell out of that, man. You can clean this thing, no problems at all. It's just, I love that, right? And so, super easy to clean, a really good shooter. This is one of those guns that you could pass off to anybody in your household and they could use it as a defensive tool. And so that is a good thing. You know, pistols can be hard to shoot for people that have never done this before, and that's just the fact of it. But when you give them a PCC, this is what makes me kind of cringe when I hear people say PCCs aren't a viable defense option. Now, let me say, would it be better to have a rifle? In a lot of circumstances, yes. But, you know, for home defense, if we just kind of discount shotguns, which the only reason I do that is to validate my point a little bit, because the shotgun with double-aught buck is probably your best home defense option. But if you want something that you could take to the range, competition, teach people how to shoot on, give it to anybody in your household, and them be able to use this, you know, managing recoil, trigger control, and all that, make that really easy for them, this is a good option. This is a good do-it-all type of option. And so that's why I'm discounting shotguns, just simply based on the point I made, but they are essentially the best home defense option in my opinion.
That is so nice, dude. So nice. Yeah, I definitely prefer the ergonomics of this gun, without a doubt, I think. Everything's kind of set up like an AR. You got that extra switch right there. I can close that bolt. I like it.
So what about the cons? Because it can't all be good, right? Well, it's not. This charging handle right here is too small. Yeah, right. We just need to get a bigger, you know, just a little bit bigger. And then that way you feel like you can manipulate it. Maybe even a little bit wider too. I don't want it to stick out too far, but I do just a little bit of length and just a different design. And this is something we can easily change. That's not a big deal at all. I would even maybe run a smaller selector, just because I get a little bit of digging on my trigger finger right there, my index finger, just a little bit when it's in the firing position. But once I go to reach, it's really not a big deal if I'm being totally honest with you. You know, add a sling to it if you want, and we got a winner here. There's not a lot to hate about this. And some people may mention the price. Well, you know, when you look at the SP5, which this is kind of known as the poor man's MP5, if you will, I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean, you can almost buy 3 of these for the price of one SP5. Don't get me wrong now. I love the SP5, but damn, dude, $3,000 up, sometimes more, depending on where you go. That's expensive, man. And so, you know, I really appreciate that this came in at a price that a lot of people can afford. So it doesn't really feel like it's, you know, breaking the bank. You know, even your Chris Vectors, which range $1,300, $1,400, your MPX Copperheads, cane brakes, rattlers, you know, all the snake guns, you know, I mean, they're $2,000. And so, you know, of course you can go cheaper, you know, your Strybox, High Point, stuff like that. But I think for a reliable and super usable PCC, this is amongst one of the best. And I definitely love the fact that it folds, because yeah, it's a little bit heavier of a PCC, but I think that pays off in how it shoots. And like I said, you're going to feel that mass of that bolt. So when you take it out to the range, don't be surprised if you notice a little more recoil than what you thought, but it's not terrible and it's not unmanageable. So that's where I'm at with the Scorpion 3 Plus. The changes they made are a big reason why we have this gun here today, because I appreciate a lot of the stuff that they changed here. I'd love to hear your opinion. What do you think about the 3 Plus carbine? If you're looking to, you know, maybe go up from one of the second or even a first gen Scorpion, love to hear those ideas and things that you've changed on your first and second gen, or maybe even things you don't like about this one. If you appreciate what we do, consider subscribing and join us on Patreon, or you can join the channel right here and never leave YouTube. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one, and as always, hold them down.